Hey, good morning. Chuck here with Apple Drains. Today we're going to do a couple of things. I found an old toilet, out front for the garbage guys to come pick up. I knocked on their door. They said, yeah, you can take it. So I brought it back here to the shop out here in the office in the field area. And what we're going to do first is we're going to pressure clean this toilet. We're going to see if everything works. We'll check the inside, all the mechanics of that toilet, see if it works. Let's start with that. First, we'll pressure wash. Okay, before we go to the inside, let's remove this old wax ring. Just something sharp. I'm just using an old chisel. Just got to get that ring off of there. We'll clean that up in a minute, but let's just get as much of this off as we can. And then we'll use the pressure washer again. So with just a few minutes of the pressure washer, you can see we've got that thing pretty clean. There's a lot of rust down in there, hard water deposits. I'm going to show you a product that I think works really good. Check it out. If it doesn't work, it doesn't really matter, but it would be nice to get a nice clean toilet. Let's take a look. Okay, now let's go ahead and remove the seat. Someone had replaced the seat, and luckily there are plastic nuts and bolts here, because otherwise it would be really rusty and you'd have to cut it off. I don't know if you can see the hacksaw over there waiting for me to cut it off, but this nylon fittings, they work great for some things. Of course, holding a toilet seat on is pretty important, but it's not like it's a bolt that's on your engine. But you can see we could actually reuse that as well if you wanted to. Set that aside. We'll flip the toilet over, do the other side. Remember, when you're moving your toilet, be very careful. Move it slowly, because if it drops, it could break, especially an older toilet. Actually, even a new toilet, it doesn't matter. Whatever toilet it is, can you see it? We'll turn it around here. So you can see that little nut, and we'll just unscrew it. We're also going to check and make sure we have a good O-ring still inside here. This toilet might be from 1950s, 1960s, 70s, 80s, whatever. It's still, 20, 30, 40, 50 years old. But it does work. I already flushed it once, and I'll show you that here in just a second. But let me get this nylon nut off of here. We'll get rid of the seat, and we should be in good shape. Yep, it even had a little washer inside of it, but there's the old seat, and you can see it's rotten. It's probably been sitting outside for a long time, but we'll save this nut and screw just in case. So we'll get rid of that. Now we're ready to check the inside, the guts, the mechanics of the toilet. Let me go ahead and set that up. We'll get some water out here with a hose for right now, fill it up and flush it. Okay, see how well it works. So we've got a clean toilet, and before we do any more, let's talk about rough-in, because we need to plumb this toilet. But the first thing you're going to do is set the toilet. There's a number of things that we'll talk about, toilet flange, things like that. But to find a spot on your floor where you're going to set that toilet, you need to have some measurements. We've got the wall, okay? This is a wooden wall, so it's a stud wall. And we've got 3.5 inches, a 2x4, 3.5 inches. Then you have a finished wall. We're going to use 5/8 inch sheetrock. So now you have to add that up, right? So we've got some math, and then we've got 12 inches from the finished wall to where we're going to set this toilet. That's the rough end, 12 inches. Okay, so now we're going to put the rough in for the toilet. Most toilets today are set 1 foot, 12 inches from the wall, but that's the finished wall. So we have to do a little bit of math here. We've got the wall itself, the 2x4, that's 3.5 inches, right? This is a stud wall. Then you've got your wall covering, your finished wall. In this instance, we're going to use 5/8 inch sheetrock. So add that up. What is that total? And you can see it right here. It's going to be 4 1/8. So from this mark, we want to go 12 inches out, and this will be the center of the rough-in toilet. And it should be 16 1/8, and it is. So we drilled the hole for the flange. It should slide right in there. Nice. Next, we'll go ahead and secure the flange to the subfloor. So a real quick note, notice that, this is just showing you, this is the subfloor. And then next you're going to put in your flooring, whatever it might be, tile, it might be, hardwood, or it might even be a peel and stick. It doesn't really matter. But your flange is actually going to sit on top of this stuff. That's where you're normally going to be, so it would be under it. And your flooring contractor is going to come and cut around and put all this in there. But for right now, just for our demonstration, we're just showing you how to set this up. Secure the flange to the subfloor. Remember, you're going to have toilet bolts, and they're going to slide in. Make sure that you're centered. Give yourself enough room that these things are going to be centered as you set your toilet down on top of it. You wouldn't want it to be over here, because then the toilet's going to turn this direction. You've got to center this flange, make it square. So again, the center from back here is 16 1/8. The center coming across is 24. So make sure that everything's centered. You can square up your flange right now, and then you'll secure it with screws to hold the flange down. Remember about your toilet bolts. They have to slide in, and they're going to set so that it's square. There's another toilet bolt, and it'll sit over here, and it has to be square so that your toilet sits properly. I suggest you use stainless screws here. I'm just using regular sheetrock screws because we're just showing you a demonstration, but stainless is much better in case you ever do have to replace that flange. Okay, so we've secured the toilet flange just with a couple screws here just for demonstration. Let's go ahead and set the toilet itself over here. Remember, you probably might need to drill a hole for your water line too, or maybe it's coming out through the wall, but we're just talking about the toilet right now, just the toilet. Quick review to this point. Remember that a rough-in toilet sets 12 inches from the finished wall. We made that measurement. We've got our stud wall here, and then we've got 5/8 inch sheetrock. We made the measurement from the outside edge of the finished wall to the center of the flange. That's 12 inches. Next, we put the flange down. We secured the flange. And then we put the wax ring on here. The wax ring is going to make a perfect seal. We'll put our toilet bolts in. We'll set the toilet down onto those bolts and just push it down. It's going to smash that wax ring. It'll get rid of the excess here and just make a great seal all around the toilet. So there's a spot to slide your bolts in, and they set flush on the ground. What I like to do is take a little bit of wax and just help them hold it in place. You can just push this down right on top of it. Just hold it, helps hold it in place right there. Now we're going to go get the toilet, set it down, and we're ready to plumb the toilet. It's just that simple. Okay, here is the Johnny O-ring, Johnny O-ring. And what this is a wax ring, an O-ring. It's going to make a perfect seal as you set the toilet down onto these toilet bolts and force that water to stay within the sewer system, not allow any gas to escape. It's a great seal. Wax seals have been around for years. You can use whatever kind you like. This happens to be called, what is it called? Johnny O-ring, Johnny O-ring. And they're available, even at Walmart you can buy these things. They're about $5. So if you've got a toilet that's totally put together, remember this is an old used toilet. I'm just going to pick it up right here because it's got the pivot point. It's heavy, but we should be able to line this up onto those toilet bolts. Just guide one side, other side looks good. Make sure they're nice and square. And then what I'm going to do is just wiggle it down until it's nice and tight. Perfect. So now we can square it up, put the toilet bolt down onto the nut down onto the bolt, and secure it to the floor. Next, we're going to secure the toilet. We're going to put on a washer, and then we're going to put on the toilet nut itself. After we get this tightened down, we'll cut that nut off, and it'll be nice and tight. We'll be able to put a little cap on it to make it look really good. There is a little plastic washer that can also go on there. This actually holds the cap, but I'm just putting it together like this. When you tighten this down, when you use your 3/8" wrench or vice grips, whatever you use, do not tighten that super tight, because if you do, it could crack the porcelain of the toilet. And you can hear me putting the other one on. We just want to get it on there a little bit. Perfect. So now our toilet is secure down to the floor. So now our toilet is secure onto the floor, and we can move on. Okay, so we have the toilet securely fastened to the floor. Let's kind of review again, because it's really important. Rough-in toilets, they are 12 inches center of that flange from the finished wall. And I kind of made those measurements for you so you can see. Use a hole saw or a jigsaw, whichever one you want, to cut a hole through your subfloor. And we're going to plumb underneath it here as well. I just haven't showed you that yet. But next we're ready to go ahead and test this toilet, see if this mechanism works, make sure everything's working properly before we go any further. Okay, remember in the beginning of the video when we were pressure washing, I said we were going to try to get rid of this rust deposit. I've got two products. This one's called Rust Stain Remover, and I found this at Walmart. Let's just see what it does. This is rust, all this, it won't come off. If you used a Brillo pad, all you would do is scratch it up. But let's just see what this does. Just spraying it in here all around the bowl. Give it a couple minutes here to set up, but you can see it. It's taking it right off of there. So we could clean this toilet up completely. Okay, product number 2, you probably heard of this one, Lime Away. And it basically does the same thing. But look, before I put it in, look at how clean this got right here. I mean, it's just instant. But you can squirt this up under the ring, on the rim, and it just takes this stuff right off of there. And within just a matter of minutes, that rust is all gone. I mean, it's just almost all gone. I really think this is a better product. It's called Wink, that's the manufacturer, and it's Rust Stain Remover. Costs about $6. Okay, you can see it's just been a minute, and it's just, the rust is all gone completely. I put what was left in that container inside the tank, but it didn't have enough left. Remember, we're just kind of restoring a toilet, so you got to do whatever you got to do, right? This product works great. Maybe I need another bottle, but for $6 and you're restoring a toilet, you know, you're saving, you know, $200 by restoring this toilet. So let's move on. Okay, let's check the guts. This is the fluid master. This brings that water, as the water comes in from your water line, it rises afloat here. And as that water gets to a certain height, it shuts off. And it usually shuts off just at the top of where we've got the overflow, okay? Then we have a flapper ball at the bottom. We're gonna check and make sure that flapper ball is still in good shape. We can always replace the fluid master. That's pretty simple to do. And I mean, you can buy even that fluid master at Walmart, but Lowe's, Home Depot, wherever, Ace, they're about, for a good one, about $9. And still we're saving, you know, lots of money to restore the toilet. Okay, I'm just filling up the toilet with the garden hose. Remember, I don't have any water hooked up out here. We'll fill this up to the right spot, and then we'll test the toilet. We'll flush it and see if it actually works, or do we need to clean the actual toilet line itself. I have a feeling that it's blocked up, and there's probably something stuck down inside there. That's why it was put outside, and they never knew how to get it out. But I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, so we filled the toilet to the proper height. First thing I'm looking for is to see if that flapper ball has got a good seal. No water is coming out of the tank, you know, leaking through. And you can see it's looking really good, really, really good. Nothing's dripping here at all. Let's go ahead and flush it and see if it backs up. Oh yeah, it's backing right up. And I've got the GoPro down below, but we'll take a look with the camera as well. You can see how slow that goes down. There's something going on down there. Let's take a look. Okay, let's fill that toilet back up. Remember that I have no water supply here, so I'm just using the garden hose. Let's fill that up and flush it one more time, and then we'll see what's going on underneath. But probably we're going to run an auger through there, and I'll show you what that is and how it works. Okay, we filled it back up again. You can see where it says water line right there. We're right at that water line. Let's flush this and kind of watch. Yeah, you can see there's something going on there. What it is, I'm not sure, but take a look down below. Water's coming out, but it really should flush faster than that. So a couple things could be the problem, and I'll show you what we can do. So this is a toilet auger, and some people refer to it as a snake or a cable. And what it's going to do is going to go down through. Remember, there's a trap inside the toilet, just like under your sink. And we'll be able to force it through that trap, make the turns, and get down below to see if anything's inside there. The way it works is it's got a handle that you crank, and that turns the cable, and will create some tension. If there's a stoppage, it'll create some tension down there and pull it out or push it through. Let's take a look. These toilet augers are available at most hardware stores. This one is a medium price one. I think it's like $12. Make sure that when you do buy one, it has a little piece of plastic right here on this tube, because otherwise that cable is going to scratch up the bottom of your toilet real fast. What we want to do is first we pull it all the way back. But what we want to do is first we pull this all the way back so that the end of the auger is right at the bottom of that tube. Then we'll push it down into the toilet. And we've got to make it, it's already trying to come up. So we've got to push it hard to get it down in there. Next, we'll give it some pressure and we'll start to crank it. And it should go all the way through the toilet. And that did. So let's pull it back. What's on the end of it? Nothing. Interesting. Let's fill the toilet back up with water, fill the tank up, and flush it. Because I think the problem is in the jets themselves. All these little jets that come around the ring, that means we need to get some of that product, that rust remover, and get it down through this inner tube of the tank. How many times in your life has this happened? You come into the bathroom and you flush the toilet and this happens. And you can see it right away. You know what's going to happen. It's going to overflow. You see, that one just came to the top. But if we flush it again, of course, that's just going to overflow. How many times has that happened to you? Maybe you've had guests, maybe you have a young child, or maybe it was you. Maybe you stopped it up, maybe somebody dropped something down inside there. Either way, we've got to open this up. Let me show you how. This is called a plunger. I know that sounds silly, probably everybody knows that, but say you didn't know. This is a plunger, and it is a great plunger because it has a stem at the bottom. You can see it's flexible rubber. We know that something stopped up inside of here. We can try the plunger. Let's see if it'll do it. We'll push down and actually pull up. Nothing's happening, right? Nothing at all. A little water is being forced through, but not enough. There's still something in there. Let's push on it some more. Really hard. So you think that did the job? Let's go ahead and flush it and find out. So let's flush that toilet and just see. Did we plunge it out? Sure doesn't look like it, does it? You can see this is rising up, and eventually it's just going to overflow. Right at the top. So the plunger didn't work on that one, did it? What can you do next? Remember I showed you the auger? Let's go ahead and try that. Pull that auger cable all the way back. Get this down into the trap of the toilet. Push it hard. Then we're going to crank the handle. The see if we can grab whatever's down in there. Put pressure on it, push it down through. Oh, I feel something there. I don't know what it is, but there's something there. I think we already grabbed a hold of it. But let's push it. Try to get all the way through. You can see the tension. See the tension on there? Let's pull it back. See what's on the end. Nothing yet. Just do it again. Cranking it. Hard, 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 hard. I'm right at the bottom of the toilet. I can feel it. It's got tension. Can you see this handle? See that tension? There's something right at the bottom of the toilet. Don't know what it is, but there's something right there. So I should be all the way through. Still tension. Did I grab it? You can see the water going down. Yep, there's something there. Ah, look. Somebody put something down there. What is that? You can see there's still something in there. That water's still trying to drain. Let's clean this off and do it again. Okay, we're going at it again. By the way, that was a paper towel. Remember, paper towels don't dissolve. You got to get all the way through. Let's flush it. See what it does. Pull this cable back. It gets stuck coming back. It means there's still something in there. Yep. Still something in there. Probably more paper towels. So what do? Sometimes it'll break free and that water will flush. But remember something. Those paper towels, that's what we found, they're going to go down the sewer line. They're not going to dissolve. Never put paper towels down there, ever. Never, ever. As well as any female products, if you know what I'm talking about, Kotex, tampons. Do not flush them down your toilet. Okay, let's flush it again. We've got that auger all the way through that toilet trap. Went clear down to the bottom. You can see it's still filling up, but let's flush it. Take a look. Nice and clean. So those are two ways that you can try to unclog your toilet. So maybe you have one of these little hand crank snakes. And of course, it works the same way. You hold the trigger, you turn it, you can see the cable spinning, and that would go down through the trap. I would not recommend this. Number one, it's going to scratch up the bottom of your toilet really bad. But number two, this cable's pretty flimsy. You see how easy it bends? This can actually hit your stoppage and then double back. And then you've got a knot in your cable that you won't be able to pull the cable back. So even if you have a handheld snake or if you rent a machine, do not run it down through your toilet. Okay, we've seen several methods to unclog the toilet, but what if none of those work? What if none of them work? We sent the auger all the way down through, and we know that it went through the trap, and we know that it went clear down to the flange, clear through the toilet, but it's still backed up. What do? First thing you're going to do is shut off the water, okay? Shut that water supply off. You might have to go to your main, but whatever you got to do is shut that water off. Next, we're going to take the lid off, okay? Then we're going to go ahead and flush and get all this water out of here. Hold the handle and make sure that all that water goes out as much as possible. If it backs up, you know, if it overflows, well, it overflows. But hopefully you've got enough with your plunger that it won't overflow. So you can see we've got most of the water out of there. Okay. Next, set your plunger down the toilet and push as much water out of here as possible. Get it all out. Clear down to the very bottom. You can see it's just holding a little bit of water. And that's good, because next what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and pull out these toilet bowls. more than likely down here in this trap, somewhere in here or right at the flange, there's an object. Most common objects are small toys like a Hot Wheel, perhaps a toothbrush, or even a small comb. And it's stuck right there. So we've got to take the toilet out and roll it upside down to see if we can get that to drop where we can get it out. Let's take a look. So using your wrench, get this toilet nut loose, and you can spin it off. One of the problems that you may find, remember I just put this toilet on here for demonstrations, but one of the problems you might find is that toilet bolt's rusted. And that's a whole nother video on how to take this toilet bolt off of here. That can be a real pain. And that's why when plumbers come out, or Roto-Rooter, or somebody that's a drain cleaner like us, we're going to charge a little bit more if we have to work on this toilet bolt to get it off of here. And it might take an hour, it might take 2, but it is not easy. I made it look easy because I just put this together for you guys to see the demonstration. Let's do the same thing. Let's go ahead and take this toilet bolt off. And normally these would have been cut down to size and a cap on top of it. But again, remember I just put this together for a demonstration for you to show you what happens. And remember also, the reason that we're doing this is because something is lodged down in this section of the toilet. The toilet has a trap. It's right here. Water level. Right here's the trap. The toilet has a trap. Right here's the water level. That keeps the sewer gas from down below here from coming up, and you have no odor. But something got stuck in this system right here. And more than likely it's either in this bend or it's right down at the flange, and it's laying across the flange, won't let that water go down. And of course all the waste is in there too. Remember, we plunged the toilet. We got as much water out as possible. We emptied the tank. Make sure your tank is as empty as possible, because when we pick it up and roll it over, then you've got a real mess. So I suggest that you actually take this outside and work on it. Rolling it around in your bathroom is really small space, plus it might be tile, floor, scratch it up, could break the toilet. So I'm going to show you how we carry it out. To set this lid someplace safe, because it breaks very easily. So I'm just going to move it out of the way. Move all your tools that you have out here. It's nice to lay out some towels if you have them. Make sure that you have all of your nuts and bolts. Make sure you've got all those. Put them in your pocket or whatever. Usually you would replace these after you pull it. So keep them handy. And the way I like to do this is just grab a hold right here in the center. And this will make it so it's very easy to carry. Pull it up. Remember, it's got wax holding it down. Pull it up, and then we'll waddle it out. Just walk it backwards or forwards. Just carry it right out. So after you've went outside, lay the toilet on its side, and you can see this one right away. There's a toy jammed down in there. There could be anything down in here. I mean, Hot Wheels are a big number 2 item perhaps. Does this mean the child dropped it in there? No. It could have fell off of the top of the toilet. Maybe it was on the top. All kinds of things can get stuck in your toilet. What's amazing is, how did it get from here and go through that trap, come through this little elbow, and get all the way down here? That's what's always amazing to me. But you have to play with this. This is stuck in there hard. Remember how much tension we had on the auger when we were trying to pull it out of there? Because it grabbed a hold of this. You got to get it. There it goes. We got it loose, and we can pull it out. Okay, we've got it all back together. Remember, we tighten up those toilet bolts. We also put a new wax ring down below. Next thing you want to do is go ahead and put your lid back on the top, and then of course tighten up that water supply line and let it fill up. So we're ready to test the system. How do you do that? Of course, we could just flush it, but we would really want to make sure that it's clean, that everything's going to go through. Throw some toilet paper in there. Give it a flush. Let's see what it does. Oh yeah, took that right out, nice and clean. Good swirling action, jets are working great. We're all done. Hey, this is Chuck with Apple Drains, reminding you, if you believe you can do something, I guarantee you. Have a great day.